Hello everyone, I'm Mara Bowman and welcome to AB+ Production Studios. Today I have the pleasure to have as a guest Micky. Did I say it right?
Micky, correct.
Micky O'Brien.
That's my real name.
That's your real name?
That's right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So Micky, since we're doing a short interview, tell me, what do you do?
Which part?
Great question. That's a good one. First of all, I know you are a singer.
I am, rapper.
And I've seen a rapper singer, and I've seen some of your video music, which I thought they were well produced.
Thank you very much.
The viewership was insane, so you're kind of famous.
Nah.
Come on, I mean, let people see. There's a lot of viewership on some of
Doing okay locally.
Locally, but you know, we grow a little bit by little bit.
Absolutely.
So you like to sing rap music, and you also do real estate, right? Mm-hmm. As far as I know. What else you do?
Well, what's interesting when you ask that question, everything I do is fun. So, you know, I spend a lot of time with family. As far as, you know, financially, I'm licensed to sell insurance as well as real estate. I've been a personal trainer. I'm real big into the fitness world, you know, outdoor activities and things like that. But music is my absolute passion.
I can see that. You can see that your videos and your script definitely tells a story in it. How do you get inspired? Or is that something that you come up yourself, kind of like Eminem?
So
like you take the notebook and you're like Eminem and you write?
So when I'm a talker. Like the name Mouth came to me so naturally, and it did not come to me. It actually came from a friend in college. But to backtrack, when I was in high school, I was always I just talked a lot. I have excessive talking every year of my, you know, K through 12, you know, schooling. But one of my friends jokingly said, "Man, you talk a lot. Why don't you rap one day?" You know, because we started, and I was just like, as a joke, it just kind of started into that, and then it just rolled into, you know, I started learning about the art and the history of it, and I fell in love with it.
So you kind of started to experiment, and then you kind of turn it into a...
Here and there. I mean, so the different dynamics in hip hop, you know, freestyling, which is not the same thing as it was when I was younger as it is now, but just, you know, coming off of things off the top of your head, you know, in a setting of people in a live audience, and just, you know, trying to put together words and concepts and things like that. That's primarily where I got my start. I've always been a lover of music. I mean, since I was old enough to wear a onesie, I used to do the Michael Jackson dance and rip it open. That's actually on my new single cover. I don't know if you saw that, but you know, so music's always been a part of who I am, and then expressing myself through writing. I was taught how to write by a teacher, actually at Fort Walton Beach High School, and she taught me really how to do it in a contextual way, for it to make sense and to be like academically correct. But within that, she also taught me how to really express myself, you know, my personality, my imagination, you know.
So you get inspired. How do you get inspired with the songs? How is it based on just how you come up with script? Like
it varies. That's a great question. It really, like, if I hear the instrumental.
Are those true stories?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it's based on inspiration of true stories.
So a couple of the videos that I have, like my past, like I got sober when I was 25 years old, which was 2010. I'm very transparent about that, especially, you know.
That's respectful.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. And you know, hearing about mental health and sobriety in hip hop is not a very popular thing, you know what I mean, amongst most popular things, but I think it's important that we are our authentic selves. And it's not that I try to inspire others, but I've had the blessing and the gratitude to be told that I do. And that feeling is second to none.
Well, you inspired me by you producing all that and come up out there and put yourself out there.
Thank you.
Plus you have the voice. Now that's also interesting. Did you always knew that you could sing?
So I don't think I can sing, to be honest. I mean, I know how to hold a melody, so to speak, but rhythm, I mean, like I said, since I was a kid, it came natural. So when I learned, everything is math. You know, it just is, you know, and once you figure out that your heart is a beat, the way your blood flows, you know what I mean? Like everything.
I mean, I didn't see it that way, but
you know it
yes,
when I say it, you know what I mean? And so when you hear music in everything, you can enjoy everything. You know, I mean, all loud noise. I mean, we've seen tons of videos and different ideas and things. And one of the really cool things I remember seeing as a kid, my mom, my stepdad brought me to, or it was called Stomp. Remember when they were like banging on trash cans? And remember that? And I was just like, I'm like, dude, everything can be a song. You know, so it just really, that's where it's like, you know, if you listen to everything, all the noise going around, if you shut out the negativity, like you can hear it, you know what I mean? And it's just...
That's interesting that you say that. What do you mean by shutting out the negativity?
Well, I mean, the tendency to get caught up in what may or may not cause some disruption in each individual, you know what I mean? As far as negativity goes, I was a very self-destructive person, and I focused on me. It was about my ego. I was selfish and self-centered. I didn't care what people thought. And when I started to learn about who I was as a person and to balance that with the humility and you know, you don't catch flies with honey type thing, but everyone loves to turn and look at a car wreck. So it's like the more explicit I would be and the more, what's the word, shock value type, you know, demographic or, you know, concepts, just really it gains attention and people know that.
Outside the box.
Right. And then you look at like something just super positive, like it could be, you know, in hip hop, it used to be portrayed as corny. You know, I'm like, oh, look at this dude trying to be cool, you know, he's a sweetheart.
I disagree with that because there's so many successful hip hop rappers, singers out there, big names. Eminem is one of them.
Absolutely.
And he kind of started the way I don't know that's true or not, based as you know too probably, and by expressing himself and a true story in his life. And I feel like that relates with a lot of people. They just don't have the courage or they don't find a way to express themselves in a healthy way. So
the way I would express myself kind of came off negative and it turns people off. I mean, even today, if I say something explicit, like I'm a huge advocate of, you know, the world isn't rated. So why are we trying to like, you know, dim everything and dull everything down? But I respect the fact that, you know, if I curse in a song, you know, a little girl or a little boy, they're not gonna hear that, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't hear everything I'm saying around one word because it sparks like this, what is it, cognitive dissonance, you know what I mean? And it's like alarms, like, oh, well, he cusses. And it's like, did you hear everything else I said? You know what I mean? So, and it's just, really, it's just opinion based. But I mean, I think everything that I do is positive and expressing yourself, even what most people aren't comfortable with because of, you know, societal, you know, distinctions and things like that. They're like, oh, well, you know, hip hop's full of guns and drugs. Like, no, it's not. You know what I mean?
Why do you think it's associated to that type of stigma?
Media.
Media. Power of media, right? Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. But it's also different. It's, you know, classic music. It repels towards the instruments.
Right,
hip hop it has its own culture kind of thing to me.
It has integrated so many different generations and sounds, absolutely, and genres of music. All music does, it's all connected. Like everything is music. Music is the oldest language that we speak. If I don't speak, you know, your nationality's language, then, you know, if
I'm sure we can do the same
figure something out, right, yeah. But we could both enjoy hearing something that we both can, you know, vibe to, you know.
And then you connect and that way you still communicate in a way.
Right, it's absolute connection. So when people separate hip hop from, you know, rock and you know, older disco, because it evolves. I mean, everything. I mean, hip hop is an evolution of disco, which is a direct descendant from, you know, blues and rock and roll, which, you know, I mean, you can trace it all the way back down to just beating on drums.
What would you tell the people that they're not so open to the hip hop industry? What would you tell them that it could change the perspective of seeing it in a more positive way versus how it's portrayed?
So empathy is a very difficult thing to describe. So putting yourself in someone else's shoes may or may not be the easiest idea. So me saying, well, try to look at it this way, like give a perception rather than what I would say to someone is like, you already love hip hop. Like, what do you mean? I'll start naming commercials, openings to certain sitcoms, shows, things they hear on the radio. You know, I mean...
What do you think is so special about it, though?
What is so special about it?
Hip-hop, you just said it, it's pretty much in everything, and I agree with you. It's in movies, it's in intros, outros, you know, we all vibe to it. It is definitely some sort of special to it,
Absolutely.
Or is not.
Absolutely.
Do you think it's because it's more expressed more authentically out the way it's put out there, and that sometimes can offend people?
I think a lot of people... I think all things black culture have been really cool. And the way America has taken those things is they run with the enjoyment of it, but then stay away from the actual culture. You know what I mean? Which is a whole nother reason why to connect dots on certain levels, you know, when you're looking at, you know, politics, religion, reform, and things like that. But I mean, everything the Rolling Stones did, they took from Chuck Berry and, you know, black artists before then and things like that. And, you know, where jazz came from and soul, like these things come from something you heard and then Elvis creates it and it's the greatest thing on the planet. But it's been here the whole time. You know, so it's connecting that dot rather like, yo, you already like it. You just don't realize it. And most people, when they say they don't like it, they usually specify, well, I don't like that gangster, whatever. And it's like, cool, man, but you don't understand that culture either. You know what I mean? And
well, it is a culture, isn't
absolutely.
it? Do you feel like maybe it's just not talked enough about it and maybe not presented in a brighter perspective?
I think it's talked about a lot. I just think that people don't have enough connections to certain circles in the conversation. You know what I mean? People are comfortable where they're at, and that's okay too. You know what I mean? But having an opinion about something you know nothing about, and I think that's what we've been forced into with this new technological social media, you know, advancement nowadays, is like you're forced into these circles that you stayed out of on purpose. And until a person can emotionally or maturely learn to not think or feel something without getting to know someone or getting to know more about it or researching it, you realize that nothing is as bad as it seems. And why are you only focusing on the negative? Because anything you focus on that's positive is gonna grow. You focus on something negative, it's gonna grow. So when somebody comes to me like, oh, well, I don't like rap because of all that gangster, I'm like, yo, there's so much hip hop out there that's not like that. There's rock like that, there's country music like that. But what's funny is like everyone wants to be like the hip hop artist. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I'm really grateful that you shared the story with me because my goal is to help, like I mentioned earlier, to inspire others. And I really hope that people get to know my audience through our interview.
Yeah, I love
And they can find you on Facebook, right?
Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, Pandora. If it exists, I have it.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned from Micky today, and let us know if you have any questions, comments. We'd love to engage you. We're signing off from AB+Production Studio. Stay amazing.
Peace.